It's an incredible privilege to be the one that is sitting in the chair for the first time, as a First Nations artistic director at Australian Dance Theatre. ADT is the oldest contemporary dance company in the country. We're 57 years old. That's really emboldening for me to be like, well, we're the elder, we can lead from the front, and we can make change and we can question things and we can look at processes and structures and how can we do that? Some structures, it's hard, it's not easy at all. But I feel like it's good to be within asking those questions.
It is a very collaborative environment, and Dan has been super welcoming of different ideas and movement, and I think he really likes to see us as like individuals, and so we get to bring ourselves a lot to the table, and he's never really asked us to be anyone but ourselves. That has been really nice and very fortunate.
And I found contemporary dance via Elizabeth Cameron-Dalman, who is the founder of Australian Dance Theatre. We met when I was about 13 years old. I just moved to Canberra, so I just moved to Ngunnawal country, and my dad was teaching at a school where Elizabeth was doing some dance workshops. Dad must have mentioned to her that, I did tap dancing, and she said, oh, well, he should go and join this new youth dance company that's just started in Canberra called Quantum Leap. I've been really grateful and fortunate that I've been able to use this art form as something that grounds me in who I am, of being First Peoples and being of this land. And it's connected me to a vast network of other First Nations artists that I get to work with and beside and behind. So dance really has given me my identity. I think what's exciting and what the future possibilities, I suppose, at ADT is that we can be a company that is welcoming of First Nations and diverse voice. Dance is instinctual. It is barefoot on the ground. So there's something about, for me, the vision for ADT of it being a place for everybody. It's a complex kind of idea. This organisation has existed for 57 years in around about the same way, via a kind of Western-focused lens. And so, every day I walk in with my cultural lens and my Wiradjuri lens, and that's a new thing for this organisation. Savage is the most ambitious work I've ever made in my career. It was the first as artistic director. My creative process, I suppose, is collaborative and it's conversational, but it's also not one thing. The process has been incredibly inspiring.
I don't know if there's like one individual style throughout Savage. I think as artists in the company, we're all very different, and I think that's what Dan liked about us. We each bring our own history and understanding of movement, which is so nice to bring together. And one of my favorite things about working with the other dancers.
What I want the work to do is I want people to question the imagery and how our hearts and our minds and our imaginations have been captured over time by ongoing rhetoric and ongoing visuals and, ongoing colonial systems, I suppose.
My body is constantly colonized by like all these different forms of dancing, like ballet and even some forms of Western contemporary dance. It's something that I'm still deconstructing within myself. I think just existing within a marginalized body on stage already creates so much of a story. But I don't think my body looks the way that Western ideals want anyways. So it definitely is a process that I'm still going through. Having Dan be a part of the ensemble and like inside the work, he made it a point in the beginning that he wanted to hold the weight with us because it is such a weighted work. We all got to support each other and be held in that way.
Another work that I've got at ADT is called Tracker. The work is about how my great-great-uncle at the time of colonisation had 1 foot squarely in his cultural world, but he served a colonial government under the king. He was the first tracker to be promoted to the rank of sergeant. And so the work sits in that idea of 1 foot in each world, and then how we are doing that now. how I'm doing that, how my son, my daughter, how we as First Peoples are having to navigate continually our culture and Western system.
Movement and dancing and storytelling is so intrinsic to us as humans. As First Nations people, we've been telling stories since the beginning of time, and I think it's so important continuing that and also like decolonizing our thoughts now.
I hope that how people see ADT changes, because we are changing the way we make work, why we make work, and what work we make. We're Australian dance theatre, so we should be telling Australian stories with Australian artists inspired by this land.